Y&R Spoilers reveal that Dumas may be Victor's abandoned son returning to take revenge on his father. People feel the uneasiness lurking in every corner like this. Since early morning, the air around Chancellor seems thicker, every little sound echoes with an unnameable anxiety. Nikki Newman, as the person who steered Chancellor through many events, is putting all her efforts into preparing for the celebration, an important milestone not only for her, but also for the entire team of dedicated people behind a famous brand. It was thought that today would be all wine, laughter, and proud congratulations, but all predictions were shattered in the afternoon when a chilling message appeared. Aristotle Dumas had spoken. The message was sent in a classic way, as if to tease all the modern security devices that Victor Newman always prided himself on being impenetrable. This memory will be forever engraved, not only by the spotlight but also by the secrets that will be torn from the darkness. Just that short. But enough to make everyone in the conference room stop, looking at each other in fear. Nikki clenched her hands, a cold feeling running down her spine. While Victor, a man who had experienced hundreds of battles rarely showing fear, could not hide the anger and anxiety on his face. If for most of Genoa's residents, Dumas was just a name that passed by among countless rumors, then for Victor, that name was a real obsession. This man was not just a ghost on the sidelines but also a symbol of danger, a man who was both intelligent and reckless and absolutely did not follow any rules. Victor had heard of the manipulations, the secret takeovers, and the times Dumas turned his opponents into ashes with just a sophisticated move on the chessboard of business. But this time, the target was none other than the Chancellor himself, Nikki's hard work, her pride, and her affirmation of her position in Genoa City. Unlike the previous times, Victor no longer wanted to be a lone man against the world. He came to Nikki, hiding nothing and sharing all his insecurities. She understood clearly. If Aristotle Dumas dared to openly provoke before the celebration, there must be a series of carefully prepared plots behind it, aimed directly at the weakness of the Newman family. Meanwhile, Nikki was caught between two waves of emotions. On one hand, she wanted to show her mettle, to prove to everyone that no one could easily overthrow the Chancellor, especially on this important day. But on the other hand, deep down, Nikki was afraid. She wondered if she would be strong enough to face the secrets that were about to be exposed, what lies would crumble in the murmur of the crowd. Or would she herself be swept up in the whirlpool of things that had been buried for years? That unease spread, not only stopping at Chancellor but quickly infiltrating families, partner companies, and the media. A luxury fashion brand that seemed innocent in the power struggle now became a bridge for a series of secrets, pushing everyone into a state of high alert. Employees gossiped endlessly, each speculating about Dumas's motives, about what might happen at the upcoming celebration. Victor Newman, who had always been known as Mustache, a symbol of indomitability, now trembled with anxiety, not for himself, but for the future of Chancellor, for his wife, and for the legacy he had built. This time, Victor realized that he not only had to face a dangerous opponent, but also protect the most precious thing: his family. The anniversary approached in a stifling atmosphere. Every call, every email, every step was carefully controlled. Victoria and Nick could not hide their tension. Victoria feared that if the secrets were revealed, Chancellor's reputation would collapse, along with her career and position at Newman Enterprises. Nick, with his instinct to protect his family, continuously tried to contact cybersecurity experts to trace the origin of the Dumas message. But all efforts fell into a deadlock. As January 30th approached, the whole city held its breath. Nikki's business partners, friends, and relatives were preparing for the party with a mixture of excitement and anxiety. All eyes were on Chancellor, expecting a grand ceremony but also doubting what could happen. In the banquet hall, every flower and every glass of wine was arranged perfectly, but no one knew that in just a few hours, everything could turn into chaos by a sudden shock. Genoa City has never been short of gossip, but it's rare that every conversation, from the smallest corners to the most lavish offices, converges on one name: Aristotle Dumas. They say every storm starts with a gentle breeze, but this one started with a murmur of curiosity, which quickly turned into a quiet fear that seeped into every relationship, every project, every fitful sleep of Genoa's residents. This morning, Sally Spectra had just stepped into society when she heard a whisper at the next table. "Does anyone know who Aristotle Dumas really is?" "I hear he's not new." Sally smiled politely, but inside she couldn't help but feel uneasy. In the fashion world, information is a weapon, and the more vague the rumor, the more dangerous it is. Sally had never met Dumas, but in just 2 weeks, she heard his name being thrown around at parties, meetings, and even in the middle of the night texts from her most reserved friends. In another coffee shop, Amanda Sinclair gently set her coffee cup down on the table and looked straight into Billy Abbott's eyes. Billy kept his usual half-smile, but Amanda could tell he was nervous. "Who do you think Dumas is?" Amanda asked, trying to hide her anxiety with a calm voice. Billy shrugged. But he couldn't help but recall the times Cain Ashby had suddenly disappeared and reappeared mysteriously. Was Aristotle Dumas just a new cover for Cain, after a surgery, a trick to escape the past? Or was this really a completely new force, ready to bury anyone who dared to stand in his way? Across town at the Grand Phoenix, Phyllis Summer stood silently before the large mirror in her office. Over the years, she had faced all kinds of intrigue, but never before had she felt so confused by an invisible name. From Damien came a short message: "Be careful of Dumas." 4 words, no signs. No concrete evidence, but Phyllis knew deep down, when Damien was worried, things weren't simple. She wondered if Dumas was really Cain, who had long been in the shadows and disappeared without a trace. Or was he an old enemy, now back in a completely new guise? At Chancellor Winters, Lily Winters sat nervously in a meeting with her management team. Lately, a series of projects had been abruptly delayed, investments were suddenly frozen, and longtime partners had become more reserved than usual. Lily began to suspect, could all this change be related to Dumas? She remembered the last time she spoke to Cain, her ex-husband, who had the ability to mess everything up with just one emotional decision. It seemed that the appearance of Aristotle Dumas brought back many memories in her, of betrayal, of broken relationships, of secrets that she herself did not dare to delve deeper into. The mood in Genoa City was becoming increasingly tense. Billy Abbott couldn't sit still. He quietly investigated the new financial connections that had emerged around Dumas, uncovering a series of shady transactions. He even secretly monitored a few online meetings, only to realize that, although all the evidence pointed to Dumas as a newcomer, there was something too familiar about the way he operated. The way he spoke, a kind of confidence and recklessness he had only seen in Cain Ashby. Was it just a coincidence? Or was Billy standing before a big drama where everyone could be a double agent? Across town, Amanda Sinclair frowned as she studied the new legal documents of a company owned by Dumas. A string of foreign investments, shell companies, contracts with obscure signatures. All of it seemed to be leading her into a maze with no way out. The deeper Amanda got, the more she felt like she was confronting someone with a superior intelligence, always one step ahead, never showing weakness. Meanwhile, Damien, the mysterious man who was always on the edge of every story, also began to feel threatened. He remembered the days when Cain was in the shadows, when every decision of Cain could cause a series of businesses to go bankrupt in just one night. Dumas, in a strange way, recreated that recklessness, but on a higher level, without having to appear, without having to confront, but still made the whole of Genoa City talk worry. What is special is that people like Sally, Billy, Phyllis, Amanda, Damien, and Lily, who were originally on different sides, even fiercely opposed to each other, suddenly pay attention to a common figure, Aristotle Dumas. In meetings, at social parties, and private messages, all repeat the same question: who is Dumas really? And what does he want from us? Fear gradually turns into obsession when some of their personal secrets begin to be mentioned in the media, as if Dumas holds the maps of each person's private life. Sally worries that secrets from the past in Los Angeles will be dug up. Amanda fears that lawsuits that were once hushed up will become blackmail weapons. Phyllis worries that hidden conspiracies will be exposed. Billy wonders if he is being drawn into a new game with an opponent even more dangerous than Victor Newman. Lily felt as though every decision she had ever made with Chancellor Winters was being tested by an invisible hand. In those tense days, one by one, they began to reach out to each other. First to exchange information, then to quietly collaborate. Sally and Phyllis, 2 women who had once seen each other as rivals, were sitting together, sharing their shared unease. Amanda talked to Billy about her investigations, while secretly connecting with Damien to build a complete picture of the Dumas force. Dumas couldn't be a random stranger. He was becoming the focus of the plot. Many began to whisper that this might just be the perfect disguise of a familiar face. Cain Ashby was mentioned first, a name associated with old wounds that had not healed, unexpected separations, and mysterious disappearances. Is Dumas Cain with a new look? This question was repeated over and over again in private meetings and lavish parties, the core of which was still intrigue and suspicion. The timing of Dumas's appearance coincided too closely with Cain's mysterious absence, making this speculation even more irresistible. But many also believed that Dumas was actually a new player, an outsider, carrying his own secrets and determined to shake Genoa City to its core. Who can say that in the past of this city there are no unnamed ghosts, lonely souls silently observing every change, waiting for the right moment to appear and turn the tables of power? Those people, once revealed, always know how to manipulate the psychology of the crowd, sowing curiosity and fear in the hearts of others. As each day passed, the pressure increased as Dumas did not rush to appear publicly, but chose to cause disturbance with hidden messages, intentional information leaks, stock price manipulations, and even seemingly harmless stories that touched the pain of the city's long-standing corporations. Just one line of text, one email, one anonymous phone call, the entire Genoa City business community was in an uproar. Phyllis became more and more impatient. She knew that just one wrong decision at this time could cause herself and her loved ones to fall into a spiral of destruction. Billy Abbott is trying to contact old sources, hoping to find out who is behind the Dumas mask before things get out of hand. Sally Spectra reminds herself to stay alert, not to get caught up in the scams, but deep down she still wants to be the first to solve this secret. Amanda Sinclair actively searches for evidence, flips through old files, tries to piece together seemingly disjointed clues. Damien shifts from an observer to an active news hunter, accepting risks to preserve his position in an increasingly dangerous game. Lily Winters prepares herself with a series of countermeasures, ready for the worst-case scenario. Dumas is really a ghost returning to collect debts from the past, or worse, someone cruel enough to drag the entire Winters family into the abyss. And it is this curiosity, anxiety, and desire to explore that unintentionally brings them closer together. There is no longer a clear line between friend and foe, between benefit and harm. Only people standing at the crossroads of fate, caught up in the uncontrollable vortex of a mysterious man named Aristotle Dumas. They wonder, if Dumas is really an old acquaintance returning with a new look, will they be sober enough to recognize it? If Dumas is the new player, will they unite to deal with it? Or will they continue to be suspicious and compete until everything collapses? In private conversations, everyone admits, something big is about to happen in Genoa City. Whatever the truth, Aristotle Dumas has achieved what any manipulator of power desires, to make everyone remember him, to calculate every step, to watch for even the smallest sign of change. True power sometimes lies not in the power you show but in the ability to make others unable to stop thinking about you. And Dumas, somehow, has become the city's common obsession. Genoa City entered the new days with a strange atmosphere. No one knew what tomorrow would bring. No one was sure if Dumas would continue to hide or suddenly appear with some horrifying revelation. But everyone understood that, from this moment on, no one would be outside Aristotle Dumas' game. And when the truth was finally revealed, there would be winners, there would be losers, but surely, no one would be able to keep the peace as before. Secrets and relentless power struggles. But perhaps never before has the atmosphere been as tense, chaotic, and ready to explode as on the night of Nikki Newman's lavish celebration. The entire city held its breath following every development of this long-awaited party, where all eyes were on the Newman family, a symbol of power, aura, and conflicts that have never been completely resolved. No one knows exactly who Aristotle Dumas is, nor why he chose this moment to stir up the seemingly calm waters of Genoa City. But when mysterious messages begin to appear, full of hidden meanings, provocations, and hints at deep secrets that only a few people can understand, everything is no longer simply a joke of fate. The elegant atmosphere of the party, the sparkling glasses of wine, the melodious music, and the fake conversations only seem to highlight the undercurrents. The insecurity and fear spreading in the hearts of each guest. Nikki, as always, appeared splendid, confident with the demeanor of a queen, but deep in her eyes, there was a trace of insecurity. No one could understand the weight she was carrying on her shoulders, having to dominate the stage while suppressing her worries about the honor, reputation, and fate of the Chancellor, what she considered her final career. Along with Nikki, Victor stood behind, coldly observing, the powerful tycoon's face clearly showing tension. For Victor, any threat aimed at Nikki, the Chancellor, or the Newman Empire was an unforgivable challenge. He was used to confrontations, coup plots, and tireless enemies, but this time, he realized he was facing a completely different opponent. Aristotle Dumas. Dumas did not appear as an ordinary enemy. He was a ghost, an invisible manipulator, a master of creating fear with just a few short text messages. His seemingly innocuous words had the power to tear apart the perfect facade that the Newman family had painstakingly built. Some truths cannot be buried forever, a simple message that contained both threat and taunting, seeping into every mind, every secret conversation behind the party. The party began. The lights were bright, the guests were dressed in their finest, and the laughter was loud. But behind the smiles was a sea of anxiety, secret glances exchanged. Nods that said something is about to happen. Phyllis Summers sat in a hidden corner, watching Victor and Nikki with a curious, suspicious gaze. Billy Abbott kept checking his phone, his palms sweating. Sally Spectra couldn't hide her nervousness. Amanda Sinclair, known for her cool and sharp wit, had to admit that she felt uneasy about something big coming. Damien seemed to be looking for a signal, some evidence that would expose Aristotle Dumas. And Lily Winters, standing among allies, rivals, friends, and enemies, realized that every relationship could now be caught in a new vortex. Suddenly, the big screen in the middle of the auditorium lit up. A short video was played, no clear image, just darkness and a distorted voice. You think you have everything under control? You think the truth will forever be hidden behind smiles, congratulations, and halo? Tonight, all secrets will be paid for. No one dared to breathe loudly. Nikki tightened her grip on the microphone. Victor roared to order increased security. The guests whispered anxiously. Just then, the phones of a series of key figures vibrated at the same time. Each person received a different message, but all contained hints of past mistakes, secrets, and betrayals. Some messages revealed secret dealings, financial mistakes, or even love affairs that only insiders seemed to know about. Those who received the messages were shocked, wondering where Aristotle Dumas got the information from, and what his true intentions were. The atmosphere at the party turned tense and stifling. Some guests tried to hide. Others stood close and whispered. Up on stage, Nikki forced a smile, trying to stay calm, but her hands were shaking, while Victor frantically directed the security teams to check all the guests, ordering the tech assistants to immediately trace the source of the video. But it was all in vain. Aristotle Dumas had clearly prepared everything too carefully. Aristotle Dumas, though not yet revealed, is still observing and recording every reaction and every step of the Newman family. He knows that an empire like Newman is not easy to fall, but it is not invincible either. With patience and secrets that have not been revealed, Dumas is ready to wait for the right moment to continue attacking, and will not stop until all masks fall off, leaving intact the nakedness of power, trust, and betrayal. Looking back at the festival night, everyone realizes, when Aristotle Dumas appeared, all old orders were disrupted. The most solid relationships became fragile. Genoa City has now entered a new era, where the name Dumas is not only a symbol of fear, but also a reminder, in this world, nothing is constant. No secret can be hidden forever. And those who want to protect their legacy, like Victor Newman, will have to prepare for the toughest challenges ever.